right. Hello, guys. Hormetic Monks. And I have this time with me, Jeff. And we're just hanging out, chatting, and having a good time. We kind of started talking about food and how they're trying to kill us out there, pretty much. Not
yeah,
just
something like that. Yeah.
Not to get too conspiratorial, but definitely the food is very unhealthy with the seed oils and the different chemicals that they're putting in there nowadays. But
The big question with that is, are they doing it intentionally?
yeah, I don't.
Or if it's just
A byproduct.
of convenience.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well,
It's tough, right?
When you get to, when you see stuff pop around like the Georgia Guidestones,
Okay.
have you followed that?
I haven't. What is that?
So down in Georgia, there was this little park, I believe, and they had these 4 stones, and it was in, what was it? 4 stones, and on both sides of the stones were written in 8 different languages. So 4 stones, 2 sides, 2 languages on each stone.
Okay.
So 8 different languages, universal.
Gotcha.
On those Georgia Guidestones were, what was it? Basically written down by who knows what.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know who put the stones there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody bought this park mysteriously and put the stones there.
Mm-hmm.
And they wrote how they wanted to reduce the world population down to a certain number.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact number.
Yeah.
I think it's in the double-digit millions.
Okay. Yeah. Which is a big reduction if you think from 7 billion people
Right.
to, double-digit millions. That we're got to go down over 600 and something billion.
Right. So, yeah, it's basically a drop in the bucket population-wise on this planet.
Yeah.
So you got that. So they said that. And then what was it? I think it was last year, if not the year before, the Guidestones mysteriously blew up.
Interesting.
I don't know anything. That's just what I've heard. You can, if you want to fact check me, you go to Tim Pool.
Okay.
He's had people on there.
Talks about this.
Talks about it. Chase, what was his name? He's on the Whatever podcast.
Okay.
His name is Chase.
Okay.
Anyhow, he talked about it. If you listen to not Graham Hancock, but I think it was Randall Carlson.
I know Randall Carlson.
I think
he mentioned it too.
Mentioned about it. You'll definitely hear about through the Joe Rogan podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
So
interesting.
They're gone now, but I mean,
yeah.
I think there could be.
Yeah, there could be.
There could be somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, where there's a will, there's a way.
Right.
But I think a lot of it is just people being dumbasses.
Yeah.
And being cheap and wanting to make a buck.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it is just you're selling something and you realize maybe that you're not going to be too profitable this quarter or this year, and you realize that if you take out olive oil or avocado oil or coconut oil and you put in canola oil, it's a lot cheaper or something like that. But then I think there's a sect of the population or of someone that may have a lot of power that does not ultimately like people,
right?
Or they want to gain something from it,
So I mean, I guess we talk. There's food, but then there's the world reducing the population.
Right.
Have you followed the Ukraine war?
Yeah,
recently?
Is it a smidge? I haven't. I don't know all the details or the facts surrounding it, but yeah, I've.
So I've watched Peter Zion. I think that's his name. He's a It's not geopolitics. Everybody calls it geopolitics.
Yes, that's the term I'm familiar with.
When people say geopolitics, they talk about different politics throughout the world, like what Russia's thinking, what China's thinking, what we're thinking.
Yeah.
I guess what the real term is the landscape, the actual landscape itself when it comes to geopolitics. Like, okay, there's a tree out in that field there. We got to be aware of that. There's a creek over there. There's a mountain there. That's
right. So you're looking at risks, different risks around the world.
Right.
Okay.
So, but when I'm going to say geopolitics, it's going to be politically incorrect.
Okay.
It's going to be all around the world, what people are thinking all around the world.
Yeah, not that. We're talking about the risk. Are you talking about are you talking about like the definition that normally people use?
Yes.
That's the way how you're going to use it? Okay, go ahead.
That's okay.
Okay.
So Ukraine right now, they're never going to function as a country again.
Yeah.
All the men there right now are wiped out.
Yeah.
Mostly. This is what I've heard through Zion, through other podcasts.
Fair.
They're now, what was it? They conscripted the old men, then they conscripted the kids. Now they have gotten the women, whatever women are left in the country,
to go and sign up as well.
Because a lot of families sent their wives and women out of the country to escape the war.
Yeah.
You can't blame them.
Yeah.
But whoever's left,
Right.
everybody's basically fighting that, from what I found.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the question you got to ask now is, okay, who's going to live in Ukraine after this war? Who's going to go there?
Well.
And
yeah.
it depends on how far we escalate this war with the BRICS nations.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, now you hear, I think I've heard that France and Germany are getting ready to put troops in Ukraine. So the question is, how deep are they going to get into this war? Because last I heard, these nations weren't producing kids. They weren't having large families like they were in the past.
Everybody's kind of in a childbirth deficit right now.
Right.
All around the world for the most part.
Western nations.
Western nations for sure. There's probably some South American countries, maybe some other countries that are potentially, even or maybe up. But I for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, I think Africa
too.
is
Yeah.
opposite.
Yes, they have more kids than Yep.
Right.
Yep. I think so.
So, if you wipe out those countries' numbers,
yeah,
that's another way of wiping. That's another way of lowering the population. Could be wrong.
Sure.
But what if another famine goes by, like COVID? Okay, that was more of a political famine. But what if it is actually a
real
valid one?
Right. Yeah.
How are we going to be past that?
Right. Well, and not to mention that we get most of our grain and stuff from Ukraine. Or we used to, right?
We don't. Most
yeah.
of the Ukraine, from what I understand, most of the Ukraine products go to third world countries.
Okay, not the United States. Okay.
Africa.
Yeah.
What was it? Probably India.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that.
Sure.
But that was the Western world's way of getting grain products to third world. Since we have an ocean between us and Africa, it'd be easier for
them to send it to Africa than
Eastern
for us
Europe.
to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
If we send grain anywhere, I think it would be to South America.
Right, because we can. Yeah.
But then they send their beef to us.
From South America. Yeah.
Right. If you go to the grocery store, you'll be surprised at how many times you'll see a nice steak.
Yeah.
That comes from Brazil.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of our grains go to. Plus, they go into making gas, petroleum byproducts, and plastics.
Interesting.
But where were we going with this? Back to
we were talking about, you were talking about basically France and Germany possibly getting into the war,
and if
reduction of population potentially.
If you reduce those two populations,
yes.
That's two there.
Yes.
So then you go to, what was it? If you go, see, I consider the Western world layers like an onion. The far reaches of us would be like South America, Colombia. I think we're on good terms with Colombia.
I think we are, yes.
Argentina.
Yeah.
Not so much Brazil anymore.
Yeah.
Ukraine. Several Eastern European countries. Poland. I'm not sure about Estonia. Romania. Basically, nobody really wants to be part of Russia anymore. I thought India was part of that group, but they're part of the BRICS nation, so they're kind of fence riders at this point.
They are, and yeah. So you're saying you look at the United States as kind of like an onion, because these are all our kind of like potential allies or people that kind of are under our protection a little bit.
Right. We're layered. Then you got like countries like Japan,
which I feel like we're aligned with fairly well. Yeah.
But I think they're closer to us than countries like Ukraine and so forth. I'm not talking bad about Ukraine.
Yeah.
But what was it? And then you got the Five Eyes countries, which is Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, United Kingdom. We kind of share more of a special interest with them.
Agreed.
And then us.
Yeah.
Us and our territories.
Right.
I didn't even talk about the Philippines. Philippines is kind of they're independent.
Yeah.
But they still have a lot of ties with us.
Yeah.
And I think we still have a lot of military bases there.
I think we do. But it's funny because it's like Philippines, I don't really hear too much about them. They're kind of like, and I haven't heard too much about them in regards to being aligned with us or not aligned with us. Like I would probably agree with you with your earlier statement, which is like they're, for the most part, it seems like they're more almost neutral, independent kind of stance, at least as far as like a geopolitical stance.
Right.
Yeah.
So so you got these other countries.
Yeah.
We'd send them into. It feels like they're being. I'm just saying. I'm not saying we're doing this.
Yeah.
But if I was in charge of things.
Yeah. Czar for a day.
Dictator, whatever.
Yeah.
I would send the people out that really didn't have anything to do with my country, and use up those populations first. And as you go in, as you peel away the layers of the onion, you got the main stock, the United States, U.S.
Right. So you're saying that? Are you saying that like we're using kind of our external onion peel to grind down Russia?
To grind down Russia to fight against the BRIC nations.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I can see that.
And I hope I am.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is. That's a good possibility. Now, is it for the kind of defensive mechanism, or is it truly just a we want to just decrease population generally worldwide?
I hope it's defensive.
Yeah, me too.
I hope it's defensive. I mean, if you're going to follow the Georgia Guidestone type conspiracy, that would be a way to reduce world population.
Yeah.
And I hope that's I hope that's a rabbit hole. What's wrong?
Yeah. Well, what's so worrisome too is, like, if you think about it, the more wars we get in, the more young people are taken out. And when you have a situation where there's already not very many births, young people aren't really having kids. When you have that situation, and then you also go and you have war, which eliminates young people, this leads to a further worsening of the problem.
Right.
And the older people, there's going to be no one there to take care of them as they go through those later stages.
Right.
And our productivity as a nation is going to go through the floor.
Well, what do we even make as a nation anymore?
Here, not much.
It's either we have food, we farm.
Yep.
A lot of that goes to stuff that isn't food either, gasoline and plastic.
Yep.
Or service industries.
Right.
Hospitals. What was it? Hospitals. I guess we have a good military-industrial complex. Like we manufacture arms and ship them throughout the world. Yep,
we do that, and we export, some other people have said, export the U.S. dollar.
Right. But
But real goods, real products.
We're not producing it.
We're not producing it.
We're not making clothes. I mean,
Yeah.
everything on my body comes from a different country.
Yeah, China.
Well, that's the thing. Have you
India.
noticed that?
Yeah.
I'm seeing less made in China labels now since COVID.
What are you, curiosity, is there a made in blank certain country that you're seeing more of? Or is it kind of distributed kind of?
Not one in India,
India, yeah.
which it's funny, India's a BRICS nation.
It is.
It's a BRICS country, but they are still friendlier with us than the other countries. Vietnam, Bangladesh. I mean, most of the Asian countries.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of other Asian countries besides China producing products.
Right. Yeah. It is interesting. Did you have you heard that the United Arab Emirates, they stopped basically the use of the petrodollar?
Petrodollar died.
Yeah.
What
That
was
was
it?
pretty substantial.
3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. Once we got the petrodollar, that's when we started, back in the 70s, that's when we started getting rid of our factories here, our domestic factories. Because we went off the gold standard, I believe.
Yep, you're right. 71.
71.
Yep.
So we had a manufacturing standard, because you have to have something to sell your currency.
Yep.
But they switched straight from the gold standard to the oil. And we didn't even produce our own oil.
Right.
We had a straight shot from us to Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
And then from there, for the past 50 years or whenever it was, from now until the 70s, we've had oil. What's backing our dollar now?
Nothing. Just
The
military.
internet?
Military.
The military, the internet, maybe, you think?
Yeah. Definitely the military, but so, and maybe I'm not. So, what do you think with the internet? Well, yeah, we do have. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, as far as no one really controls the internet, but if you say someone's in control, it'd probably be us.
Google.
Yeah, of our companies.
I don't know what you used 10 years ago. I was using, what was it, ask.com a bit.
Ask that. Yeah, I remember that. That's like, I don't even ever see that anymore at all.
Never see that. Yahoo, it's gone.
Yeah.
What was it? 2 out of 3 servers, I believe. I forget where the source comes from. But 2 out of 3 servers around the world now use Google. Search engine.
Yeah.
We use Google, the icon, what do they call it? Google, Internet Explorer.
Oh, Chrome. Chrome.
Yeah, they use Chrome.
Yeah.
I use Internet Explorer just because I have a Windows computer. I don't want to mess my Windows safety wall.
Sure.
But it's superior. So, okay, if that is controlled by a U.S. company, I guess maybe the U.S. Internet Cloud, just real simplified, that's backing the dollar.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, well, I mean, and that's not a lot, though.
It's not, well, okay, solar flare hits.
Yeah.
Gone.
Right.
What was it? Solar flare hits, were gone. What if China comes up with a more significant search engine better than Google?
Which they might. You know, one thing that I've seen so much recently, you ever see those commercials for Temu?
Right, the knockoff Amazon.
Yeah. And that's like, every once in a while, like, I don't know, like maybe a year ago, every once in a while I would hear it, but now it's like, it's inundated everywhere. I'm seeing this commercial for Temu, you know?
Right.
And it's weird to have, I guess I'm just not used to having another country's commercials always hitting us.
Right.
I'm always just used to our commercials running for our companies.
Right.
So it kind of shows like a little bit of the shift in power, just anecdotally, if you're looking at it that way, a little bit of the shift in power where another country's company is reaching in and has enough economic power to start flooding the markets with commercials on their own behalf, you know?
That I don't know how we're letting them advertise in our country,
Right.
within our internet sphere,
Right.
but here we are. What do you feel about TikTok? I know they're wanting to ban that. I don't know what you feel about it.
Well, it's tough. So I think, from a capitalistic perspective, I say, hey, let anything be free, let everything compete. It's okay. But from a national security perspective, I think we have to ban it. That's my opinion. I'm not super educated on that topic, but I think you have to ban it because, I mean, if you look at the terms and service, like the terms and conditions.
I haven't.
I haven't either, but from what everybody else that I've been hearing has said, it's like you're signing a deal with the devil.
Right.
They have access to everything
on your phone. Yeah.
And which is why I refuse to download.
Right. Which they do it with Facebook probably and Snap. I don't know.
Probably.
I haven't read
no,
those terms.
they probably do, but it's the type of thing where it's like maybe I'm willing to put it up with it when it's my own country's companies, and maybe I'm not when it's somebody else's.
Right. Well, for one, I don't think politically China likes us at all anymore.
No.
When I was watching a PBD podcast, are you familiar with him?
I am. I listen. That's one of the podcasts I listen to on a more regular basis.
I like his stuff where he interviews people more than when he has the home team.
Yeah, just the commentary.
I think he's a really good interviewer.
I agree.
The commentary gets a little old, but they do touch on topics.
Do you know who on his panel Adam is? I think it's
Sosnick.
It's rough.
I actually like him. I like everybody on there because it's like having a group of friends.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna drive you nuts. Somebody's gonna be really smart.
Yeah.
The guy who drives you nuts, he means well. He'll probably buy you a coat if you're soaked and wet.
Yeah.
You can't talk shit about him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you swear on?
No. You go for it.
I don't try to go overboard.
Yeah. I mean, if you're saying the F word every other second, it'd probably be like, that's rough. But no, I don't really care.
No. You got friends that say stupid stuff, but overall, I like everybody on there.
Yeah, fair.
But they had a guy on there. What was it? 2022. He was a nuclear advisor.
Okay.
For the United States. I can't remember his name. He was on 2 podcasts.
Okay.
So you can reference that. And then he died a month later. After that.
Interesting.
Well, he said anytime you buy a product from China, this guy said it, you're basically paying for a missile with your name on it. Yeah. So, okay. So you gotta weigh that in.
That gives you chills a little, at least for me.
Bit.
It's like, yeah.
COVID 2022, like COVID 2020. Do you remember hearing about the packets of seeds that got mailed to us from China?
I didn't hear about this. What was this?
Just random packets of seeds got mailed to everybody. The government said, do not plant these, burn them. Somebody did plant them. You had people that rebelled against it and planted them. But it's like, okay, could that have been a bioweapon?
Right, definitely.
That you could have
and then all you'd have to do is open it up and everybody's cooked, or you just planted an invasive species that potentially has some weird...
Potentially.
Yeah.
Okay, but then you got stuff like Bitcoin.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Bitcoin, by the way?
Promising, but I don't know do you know who the source is?
Right, that's my thing.
What if it's China?
What if it's China? What if it's Russia?
But right now...
What if it's the CIA in America,
But right now, we're benefiting from it.
We are.
Because what was it? Don't you get if you have a Bitcoin account, don't you get like a extra $50 a month? Like you gain interest on your money in there versus having a bank.
So you could theoretically, if you're loaning this is my understanding of it. I'm not, I'm paid attention to crypto, but I'm not, pretty much with anything else. I'm not like super deep in it, but, if you just buy Bitcoin and own it, say at well, I had money in BlockFi. That's now went bankrupt. But
Okay.
Coinbase is probably, I think, one of the safest brokerages for crypto.
Okay.
If you buy Bitcoin and you hold it within Coinbase, you're not going to gain any interest off of it. But there is ways to loan your Bitcoin out, in which case it's kind of like loaning currency.
Sure.
You'll get interest on that in your account.
Okay.
So yeah, you definitely could get $50 a month. It would just depend on what interest rate you have.
But the value's going up regardless, right? Because what is a Bitcoin now? It fluctuates
Yeah, it fluctuates, but I think it's like 67,000 now
for one Bitcoin.
for one Bitcoin, and yeah.
Now, if you bought them, stupid dumb, what was it, 15 years ago or whenever it came out?
Right.
You would have been a millionaire.
Yeah. 2008,
Right.
2009, Bitcoin comes out. It's trading for like a penny.
Right.
And if you would have just bought 10 of those,
Yeah.
you know,
But yeah,
that's 670,000 or something like that.
you gotta wonder the source, where it's
Right.
coming from.
Right.
But you gotta appreciate what it's giving us right now.
Right.
So, like going back
Yeah.
to the TikTok.
Sure. Yeah.
You do want freedom of speech, but they're not a freedom of speech platform. They do censor. They do censor people on there. Their viewership is different in China than it is in
I've heard this.
the Western world.
Yeah. I've heard this.
In Western world, you got people dressed up as cats singing stupid songs and stuff, or maybe songs you like. To each their own.
Hey, I like my cat videos.
Right.
Where they just
Right. But over there, you got workers building skyscrapers,
Right.
doing
hard science.
hard science and stuff. So it's not an equal.
The algorithms are different for each country.
For each country. So I view it as a weapon. So I don't want to mess with it, but a lot of people are supporting it now. So
Well, yeah, and it's YouTube. You have YouTube Shorts now, which is a rip off. One of my, outside of just in a little bit different direction, but outside of security concerns and everything with TikTok, my concern with it is it just shortens your attention span so much.
TikTok brain.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. Yeah. Was it 5-second videos?
Yeah, 5 seconds. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you can go up to 30 seconds. I don't know. I'm not sure what the requirements is.
It's not longer than a minute.
Yeah, it's not longer than a minute for sure.
Okay.
So, and I think most of them are, most of them are probably 5 to 10 seconds, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And so you're sitting there, especially if you have somebody that is, developing brain, they're, 10, 11, 12, and they're sitting there.
Just flicking through.
Yeah. What kind of soldier is that going to be?
Soldier, productive citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It's population reduction.
Right.
Intentionally or not intentionally.
Right. Which is like, so it's like the result is the same no matter what the intention is.
Right.
It's like if your intention is to decrease the population, so you put bad chemicals and use bad oils in the food for the population and it reduces the population, or if your intention is just to make more money, the result is the same.
Yeah.
And it just is, it's scary to be a person, just a regular everyday Joe that's trying to just, feed his family. And
yeah. That's why I have faith.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a Christian. That's why I want to put my thoughts in somewhere else to get me through this world, because it sucks.
Yeah.
When you boil it down.
Yeah.
Not saying I'm a perfect Christian.
Yeah.
But it's a way out, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, it's like, well, shoot, I don't know. If this country falls, where else is there to go in this world?
Right.
Because when the people were leaving, it's sad. It's a lot of tough things happened to make this country. To make this country. But when the Pilgrims left England, I guess they're not the ones that discovered the continent, but when the Pilgrims left, they were leaving for religious freedom.
That's correct.
If I remember right.
That's correct, yeah.
So they didn't have a lot of opportunities over there.
Yep.
I mean, if you if you think about, what was it, 1500s when the Pilgrims came here?
Yeah, probably, because I think it was it 1492 or something, Christopher Columbus?
Yeah.
So it was like, probably that makes sense. That would be right on that timeline, I would say.
The first popular recorded searcher who found America.
That's right, because there was I think is it Leif Erikson or something?
Leif Erikson.
Yeah, Leif Erikson. Yes.
Then they have sources from China that say they were here.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's another rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's another rabbit hole. But yeah, okay. So 1550.
So
you're
from
saying
1500s to around, what was it, the time of Christ. There was basically a big network of people traveling from, let's say, Britain to Italy, the Roman Empire. And basically a lot of things fell and rose during that time. So what was it, basically by that time, there was not, by 1550s, I don't think there was a lot of opportunities left for people in the old world, because it wasn't just kings and queens that ran that continent, but also corporations, religious organizations. So when people got to here, you didn't have all of that. Of course, you had no government. Yeah, you had no government, but it was endless opportunity. Endless opportunity. You had who was once here, the First Nations people. And even then, you can go down a rabbit hole there. So a lot of people say they are the remnants of empires that happened years before that, because you had like the Aztec of South America, the Inca, who else? The Amlex. Okay, I haven't heard that one. Well, so the interesting with the Amlex is there's an Africa connection to them. Okay. Because is this the Pangea thing, or is it Pangea where it's like all the not all one, but just ocean travel? Ocean travel. So still on. Okay. Yeah. And then you have the mound builders, which you can. I think there's mounds down in Indiana still where you can visit these mounds. Yeah. But basically, so there was the Native Americans were the remnants of these civilizations. Yeah. So what was it when the colonists came here? Yeah. They had, what was it, all these opportunities, and then now all that trash, the corporations, the kings and queens, the political powers have jumped from Europe to North America. Yeah. And they've made that bureaucracy that was there, that clogged all the veins of economic productivity, is now here. Find itself here. So where else in the world doesn't have this? Nowhere. Yeah. And definitely not even, you can go other places, but there's not, freedom of speech is one of the things that is nowhere else. Yeah. Nowhere else. And it's debatable if it's here. Right. And it's definitely not, it's not as good as it used to be. Right, yeah. And you want, the thing with freedom of speech too is you want to be loving to your brother when you talk about things. You do. Not be a flaunting jerk, just being trash, trying to take away your rights from your brothers and sisters and so forth. Yeah. But where else would you go? I mean, Afghanistan is kind of an interesting case, because you go there, the Taliban is the government, but they're not even in charge of the whole country. No, it's just a bunch of warlords. And you got, there are places there I don't think people have been there, like Europeans, or what was it? I just don't think, I think there are valleys and mountains there that are still hidden, or still haven't been traveled to, just because it's so remote. Anyhow, going back to it, where else would you go? If the United States was gone. What's your thoughts on this? I know it's something with Ellen White, where she talks about, I'm pretty sure it's Ellen White, talks about civil war in America. We had one.
What are you referencing when you say we had one? The capital?
The 1860 Civil War.
Oh, right. Sorry. What I mean is the second Civil War.
Is it a civil war? Is it a revolution?
Right.
I mean, that's to be dictated by history.
Yeah.
The future.
Yeah.
What they would call it.
Yeah. Because I'm looking at things the way it is right now, and parts of me. See, the tough part about it is we have this technology, the internet, that's invaded all our lives, and it's in all our homes, in all our phones, and all the information that we obtain is through this device, and the information that is in the device is kind of with the algorithm is parsed out, and you, based on your search history, is given a certain slice. Mm-hmm. But if you gave that slice to me, it would be totally different than mine. Mm-hmm. And it just worries me that we're just all being put in these silos of negativity and, like, you know, this circle jerk where we're just thinking about our own thoughts and ideas, and then we see it online and we go, yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. And then it's actually just us echoing back to ourselves because it's hitting the algorithm and bouncing back.
Right. That's where I think if you have physical friendships with people, physical, verbal, getting out of your house and seeing doing different things.
Yes. That
breaks that.
Yeah.
But that's an antidote. It's not a perfect antidote, but
no, but I think it is to a large degree it is an antidote, because it's like but I guess the reason why I brought that up is because I think for the most part, most of the people that I've met in my life, you know, they may be grouchy, et cetera, but they're genuinely, most of the time, good people.
Okay.
But it worries me that if you have a population that's always on their phone and they're always getting outraged at the other side, it's like we're not even really in reality anymore. We're not in physical reality.
Right.
And if we could all just have a barbecue, we'd all talk it out and it'd be fine. But it's almost like everybody's just staying in their homes, and then they're getting angry at their neighbor, but they don't even talk to their neighbor. And then I worry that might get to a point where all of a sudden, you know, we're shooting each other.
Right.
Even though we haven't even talked to each other, you know?
Right. But it's hard to have friends too of different political beliefs anymore.
It is.
We almost live in a country of two countries.
Yeah.
So I don't know. When I worked at my job, I'm not going to name it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when I talked to kids around my age, it was hard enough to talk to them because they had boyfriends or girlfriends that were on their phone. Mm-hmm. Once you start talking to people that were 10 years younger than you, I don't know if they looked at me because I was 10 years older, so they viewed me as an old man. Maybe.
Fair.
But I don't think they're socially capable of having friendships now.
No. Yeah.
And it's scary. That's your countryman.
Yeah.
Countrywoman. It's scary.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. It's bad. You go to when I was a kid, we used to go to the nursing home. Yeah.
I have conversations with people there that were in World War I, which that's amazing. Somebody like World War I, nobody talked about that.
Nope. Yeah.
There were some people there that were, they weren't there anymore.
Right.
So when you talk to them, you'd hear of fragments from their past, like what they did on the farm, what they did in Detroit.
Right.
Being over in some country, who knows where.
Right.
And even though you weren't having a friendly conversation with them, you were learning stuff from them.
Right.
And they were feeling good expressing themselves to you. Which, going back to the population, if we don't have people taking care of us when we're older, that's going to be scary.
It is. I feel like nursing homes are also, That I used to visit nursing homes too. With the church, kind of the youth group
Sure.
type of situation where you'd go and you try to cheer up, you know, your local nursing home characters, and I just remember it's so god awful depressing.
Right, it's depressing for us to go there,
Yeah,
but it makes their day
it does.
when the future is there visiting them, when the future doesn't have to be there.
It does. Yeah.
So in a way, it made me feel good.
Because you're able to give
Yeah.
a gift of companionship and a little bit of youth and a little bit of brightness to their lives. You're able to give that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I did that when I was not with church, but in 4-H.
Okay, 4-H.
So
That's cool. I've heard of 4-H, and I never
did it.
never did that. No, I never got to experience that. But
it's one of those things. It's like the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. I think everybody should get involved with it because
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's a fun version of school.
yeah,
You get to learn different things about agriculture and help contribute to your community that way
yeah, that's cool.
without sounding socialist.
Right, right. No, I think. I think there's this guy that and maybe you've heard of him before. His name's Nassim Taleb. You ever heard of him? He has a couple books out. He was he was an options trader back in the day.
Okay.
And I'll butcher this, but he said, you know, at the highest level of government, what do you say? I'm at the highest level of government. I'll start it in reverse. He says, you know, with my family, I'm a communist.
Sure.
With my friends, I'm a socialist. And then he goes, you know, at the local level, I'm a Republican.
Okay.
And he goes, you know, at a higher at the local level, I'm a Democrat. At a higher level, I'm a Republican.
Okay.
And at the highest level, I'm I'm forgetting the word, but basically like not an anarchist, but you know, it's as close as you get to just pure freedom.
Yeah.
And I vibe with that, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like,
Yeah,
it's true. It's like,
I like that.
socialism with your friends. It's like, you know, you're not going to let your friend starve.
No.
You're not going to let your friend, oh, you don't have this, you can't use it. You know, you're going to be like, hey, yeah, you can use this. You know, what's mine is yours, sort of, within, you know, some reasonable bounds. And then with your family, you know, if you have kids, you're dictating to them
You have to be.
exactly what to do. Yeah,
It's a monarchyism at that point.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
What time you got to pick up your dad, right?
5:30.
5:30. What time is it now? It's
4:30.
Okay. We could
good.
wrap this up, or
Okay. It's up to you.
yeah. We can wrap this up.
Okay.
We can hang out again another time too.
Okay.
Thanks for joining, guys.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming on,
Yeah,
Jeff.
it was fun.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
It was fun.